Hey, my friend. Welcome back to Richness Journey. Today, I want to take you on a journey, not just about money or investing, but about life, choices, and learning. We will learn English through stories, real stories, because real stories are how we remember, how we feel, and how we grow. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Daniel. He was not rich. He worked a normal job, earning just enough to live. But he had a dream. He wanted to invest. Not because he wanted to be a millionaire, but because he wanted freedom. Freedom to choose, freedom to live, and freedom to say no when something didn't feel right. But Daniel didn't know where to start. He read books, watched videos, and listened to podcasts. Still, he felt lost. Every time he tried to learn about the stock market, he got scared. The numbers, the charts, the news, everything looked too big. He thought, maybe investing is not for me. One day, an older friend told him something that changed everything. He said, "Daniel, you don't have to understand everything. You just have to understand yourself." That line hit him hard. He realized investing was not only about money. It was about emotion, patience, and trust. So he started small. He didn't buy expensive courses or join risky groups. He just started learning, 10 minutes a day. He read one page of a book, listened to one investing story, and wrote down one new English word about finance every day. And slowly, he changed, not because life became easier, but because he became stronger. His first investment? It failed. He lost a small amount of money. But instead of quitting, he wrote in his notebook, "Failure is a lesson. The market teaches through mistakes." That was the first time he saw loss not as punishment, but as feedback. He started to read again, this time with calm eyes. He watched interviews, not for tips, but for wisdom. He began to understand what every great investor knows. The market doesn't reward speed, it rewards patience. Months passed. Daniel began to grow, not just his money, but his mindset. He learned how to wait. He learned how to breathe when prices went down. He learned that the most powerful tool in investing is not knowledge, it's emotional control. Every time he read in English about a successful investor, he noticed something. They didn't talk only about profits. They talked about mistakes, about fear, about faith. They didn't sound perfect. They sounded real. And that's when Daniel realized, the real return on investment is not in dollars, it's in growth. In learning to stay calm when others panic. In learning to believe in long-term goals when the short-term looks scary. He wrote another note in his journal. Investing is not gambling. It's learning about yourself through numbers. One evening, as he looked at his portfolio, he didn't feel rich, but he felt proud. He thought about the words he used to hear on this podcast: start small, stay curious, keep learning. And he smiled because that's exactly what he did. The story of Daniel is not special. It's ordinary, and that's what makes it powerful. Because it's not just about stocks or money. It's about building something from inside. It's about believing that growth is possible, one habit at a time, one word at a time, one lesson at a time. And maybe, as you're listening now, you see a little bit of Daniel in yourself. Maybe you also want to invest, not just your money, but your time, your heart, your energy, into something that grows. Maybe you want to learn English through stories like this, to understand not just the words, but the wisdom behind them. So here's what you can do, my friend. Start small. Listen to one investing story in English each week. Write down the keywords: risk, patience, growth, market value. But don't just translate them. Live them. When you hear risk, think of courage. When you hear patience, think of waiting for the right time. When you hear value, think not only about price, but about meaning. This is how you learn English like an investor, slowly, consistently, deeply. Because investing and language are the same. They both need time. They both need practice. and they both reward those who stay. So as you keep walking on your own richness journey, remember Daniel's lessons. Don't rush. Don't compare. Don't quit. Keep learning through books, through people, through life itself. And maybe one day, you will tell your own story. A story of how you learned English through investing. A story of how you didn't just grow your money, you grew your mind. Because that's the true investment, the one that pays forever. And before we close, let me say this. If today's story touched something inside you, if it made you think, smile, or dream a little bigger, then subscribe to Richness Journey. Because this is more than a podcast. It's a space to grow, to learn, and to remember that the richest life is the one you build from the inside out. Because learning never ends. And when you keep learning, you never stop living. And before we say goodbye today, let's take a few minutes to slow down and look back, because every story hides a few powerful words. Words that can change how you think, how you speak, and how you live. So here are 10 key phrases from today's story. Simple, but full of meaning. Let's go through them together, not just to learn English, but to learn something about life.
1.
Start small. It means begin with something easy, simple, and possible. Don't wait for the perfect time. When Daniel started investing, he didn't begin with thousands of dollars. He began with one idea, one small step. You can do the same in learning English, too. One new word, one short story, one small start. 2. Stay curious. Curiosity is the fire of learning. It means always asking why and how. When you stay curious, you don't just read, you discover. Every good investor, every good learner is curious about the world, about people, about themselves.
3.
Emotional control. It means learning to stay calm when things go wrong. In investing, prices go up and down. In life, feelings do the same. But emotional control helps you make smart choices, not emotional ones. It is one of the strongest skills in money and in mindset.
4.
Long-term mindset. This phrase means you think beyond today. You don't give up just because something takes time. You focus on where you want to be, not just what you see right now. In English, in investing, in everything, the long game is the real game.
5.
Learn from mistakes. Every failure teaches something. When Daniel lost money, he didn't run away. He wrote down the lesson. That is what smart investors and smart learners do. They don't repeat mistakes. They study them. 6. Value over price. It means don't look only at cost. Look at meaning. In investing, a cheap stock may not have real value. In life, something free can still be priceless, like peace, time, or love. When you see value over price, you start choosing with your heart and your mind together. 7. Keep learning. It sounds simple, but it's a powerful reminder. The market changes. The world changes. You change. The only way to grow is to keep learning. Every day, every way. Even a 5-minute English podcast can move you forward.
8.
Risk is part of growth. This means you cannot grow without a little fear. Every time you step into something new, a job, a language, an investment, you take a risk. But risk is not danger. Risk is opportunity in disguise.
9.
Be patient, not passive. This one is beautiful. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the right thing, again and again, even when results are slow. Passive people wait for luck. Patient people prepare for success. 10. Invest in yourself. The most important one. Before stocks, before real estate, before anything, invest in your mind, your health, your heart. Because everything you build starts inside you. Daniel learned that wealth outside means nothing without peace inside. So now, my friend, take these 10 phrases, not as grammar, but as guidance. Repeat them. use them, live them. Because English is not only a language to learn, it's a way to grow. Every phrase is a seed. Every word is a tool. Every story is a mirror. And when you keep learning like this, through real stories, real lessons, real emotion, your English grows, your confidence grows, your life grows. So keep walking on your richness journey. Keep learning, keep investing in your money, your mind, and your dreams. And if today's story helped you feel something a little wiser, a little braver, a little more alive, then don't forget to subscribe to the Richness Journey channel. Because here, we don't just learn English. We learn how to live it through every story, every word, every moment. And remember, learning never ends. When you keep learning, you never stop living.